Welcome to the France 24 Observers, the show that's based on our network of ordinary people who are our eyes and ears around the world. We begin today in the West Bank with a video that has changed the rules for the Israeli army, at least for now. It shows soldiers using an attack dog during the arrest of a Palestinian teenager. The key moments were caught on tape by a camera mounted on one of the soldiers' helmets. Our observer is an Israeli who follows human rights issues in the West Bank.
So the 15-second video that was recently released depicts two dogs who were just in the process of arresting a Palestinian 16-year-old youth who seems to be, of course, frightened. The dogs are just being taken off the youth by the soldiers, their handlers, while an additional soldier is heard, kind of egging the dogs on and abusing the detainee. Our volunteer actually filmed the beginning and end of this incident. However, soldiers prevented him from filming the actual dog arrest. The youth was taken to hospital and then given treatment, and he was recently charged with stone throwing, given a sentence of 6 months. So the incident depicted in this video occurred in late 2014 in the southern West Bank in a place called Beit Umar. There are quite regular clashes there between youths from the village who throw stones at soldiers who are protecting the adjacent settlement. B'Tselem has, written to the authorities on a number of cases where soldiers used dogs to arrest protesters in one case, and in other cases to arrest Palestinians who were trying to sneak into Israel through a gap in the separation barrier without permits. Security forces have a range of less lethal means that can be used, such as stun grenades, tear gas canisters, tear gas. Certainly using dogs against unarmed civilians is completely unacceptable in our mind.
After the video appeared online, the Israeli army called the soldiers' conduct unprofessional. They suspended the use of K9 units until new guidelines can be put in place. To the Democratic Republic of Congo now in Central Africa. The country is reckoned to be the richest in the world in terms of mineral deposits, but one of the poorest in terms of how its people actually live. The poor can, though, make money from the minerals if they are desperate enough. Here's our observer, Alexandre.
For a long time, trains have transported copper ore across the country, and apparently some of it spilled out of the wagons. Over the years, it built up along the tracks and underneath the tracks. Now people have realized that there's copper ore on the tracks. They call it liquid green. And they get it by digging along the train tracks. It's mostly young people, people with no jobs, but children do it too. Sometimes they're organized by people who, how can I put it, who have influence. They get the other people to do the digging for them, then they take a cut of the profits. The ore is sold 20 kilometers from Kolwezi, in a town called Musompo. It's a center for minerals trading, so there are a lot of buyers. They're mostly Chinese. They buy the ore so they can either extract the copper themselves or send it overseas. The ore is sold by the kilo. The price depends on the concentration of copper, so it does bring in money, enough so that families can live on it. But it is very dangerous for the trains, because by digging they take away the ballast under the tracks. That means the tracks become less stable. So there could be accidents, the trains could derail. Also, we're talking about mineral ore. There's copper in it, but there could be other substances too. They breathe the dust when they're digging, and that could be bad for their health.
And now for some more reports and images sent in by our observers. So why is this woman wearing armor? It is because she doesn't want to get pinched. Kubra Kademi is a performance artist in Afghanistan. She's taking a stand against sexual harassment because every time she goes out in the street, she gets pinched, sometimes so hard that it bruises. She ended up going out for 8 minutes, but then had to escape in a taxi because the crowd of men was getting very hostile. Since then, she's had threats and is living at friends' houses. But her act has inspired some supporters, some men, other Afghans, who have gone out dressed in burqas, their way of supporting their sisters against sexual harassment. And here is another young person standing up for himself, a 12-year-old on a school bus in the US state of Georgia. The boy is a Sikh and wears a patka, the traditional headgear worn by Sikh boys. Our observer Amardeep explains that Sikhs in America have often been called terrorists since the September 11th attacks. He says they could respond that their religion has nothing to do with Islam, but they often choose not to because they don't want to blame innocent Muslims for the attacks either. Men and dogs, but no women. A sign on a barbershop in Lisbon. It has not gone down well with Portuguese women's groups. Dozens of their members staged a protest saying the sign was sexist. They dressed up as men and dogs and made their anger known. Finally today, learning to swim like a mermaid. Yes, it is possible using a special 2-foot flipper known as a monofin. Lessons are available in Canada, the US, Germany and the Philippines. Our observer says it's a way for fans of Ariel in The Little Mermaid to bring their childhood dreams to life. That's it for this week. You can find more reports from our observers, of course, on our website, on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and on our apps for mobiles. I'll see you next time.